All right.
What have the first 3 days of spring ball been like for you guys?
It's been a good start. I think the energy level, the confidence, and probably more than anything, the leadership. The players on the team just coming out and being examples and talking to the guys in the meetings about what to expect and what it takes to try to become a winning football team.
What kind of led you to seek out Derek, and what led you to him, and what kind of attracted you to his game and everything, and what kind of addition has he been to your room?
Well, first and foremost, he's been a great addition. And, what we were looking for in adding a transfer portal guy to the secondary was we needed leadership. We needed somebody that worked the way that you're supposed to work in order to win. We needed somebody that brought a mentality. And fortunately, my nephew was a graduate assistant at Georgia Southern, so he knew exactly what I wanted and what I was looking for. And then Coach Quinn has some buddies on the staff down there, and they told us, and he's been everything we thought. The guy goes about his business, the way he finishes drills, the way he prepares in meetings is everything you want young players and even our older players on the team to learn from, because that's something that we hadn't had in our meeting room.
I know Dorian obviously dealt with some injuries last year and whatnot, but how do you feel like he's kind of come back this year? What is his mentality, and what is his mindset been this spring?
I think Dorian's focused. He's got goals, he's got long-term goals, he's got short-term goals, and he's working towards those. Dorian has a very, very unique skill set, and if you think about it, I only had a small amount of time with him last year because, he did end up getting injured, and he had to take a lot of time off. So anytime you have to take that much time off in football, especially playing the corner position, it's almost like starting back over to be able to hone those skills. So, he's out here working, and probably more than anything, working on his own to get back to the top level that he thinks he can play at.
How does Cotman look so far?
He's a young guy that's coming in and kind of trying to find his way. But the thing I like about Cotman is I like his mentality. I like his attitude. It's always hard when you transition from high school to college playing that position because it's so much about fundamentals and technique. And whereas in high school you're probably a lot better than some people, it's different here. And we've got some really good receivers on that other side. So he's kind of learning by fire right now.
What does Mose Phillips look pretty good out there? What have you liked about what he's provided to the DB room?
He's a coach's son. So he's a kid that's a really student of the game, understanding, and he's really picked up the things that Coach Pilo has tried to teach him early on and allows himself to play fast. And he's a guy, as a young guy, that we have to have key depth there, but I think he's going to challenge for a lot of playing time at that position because of the mindset that he has and the way that he goes about his business as far as learning the things that we're trying to do.
Looking at the offense through the eyes of a defensive coach, what are you seeing so far from that group?
They're a lot faster, for sure. Just knowing it. And that's something we knew in the guys that we targeted as far as going out, getting some receivers. And I think what the guys that we brought in have done have made the guys that were here already elevate themselves. I'm looking at Gosnell, and he's a completely different guy than at any point in time I saw him last year. And he's challenging. And you look at Mansour Delane, you look at Dorian Lane guys, you look at Dorian Strong guys who people look at as being pretty good players, and those guys on the other side want to prove themselves against it. And in order to become a good football team, you've got to have competition within your team. Every good football program I've ever been around, there were good people on both sides of the ball, and I think we're working towards that right now ourselves.
You mentioned Mansour, and obviously you bring Canteen in this year. With the guys in that room, how do they make each other better with some of the different experience levels?
Well, the thing you want to do when you coach my position is you've got to create a climate of competition. And that's what I've wanted to do since coming here. I think Canteen adds that addition. But what it also does is it gives us the depth that we need. I think we saw last year, we're pretty solid. We can do some things. And all of a sudden, you lose Dorian Strong. Mansour Delane hadn't come onto the scene yet. And we can't play man coverage. And if you're playing defense on this level of football and you can't play man coverage, you're going to be very, very vulnerable. But I think they make each other better by challenging one another, the way they prepare, the way they go about things. But my group is really unique. They help each other. I think we're at the point now where we really want to be good. Those guys respect each other, and we understand together we've got a chance to go a long way.
You mentioned having to play a lot of zone coverage last year. Coach Pry, basically in his opening remarks for practice, said, one of the to-do lists is get more sacks, and that falls in line on the cornerbacks. And are you hoping more man coverage in the back end, being able to lock those guys down, will allow that front to be able to create some pressure?
Without a doubt. Everything that we do in that department goes through us. If we have to sit back and allow the quarterback to be able to pick us apart, then they're going to be able to do that. But if we can get in people's face and we can make them hold the ball and we can hold up, I think it gives everybody else on our defense a chance to get successful. The blitzes that you call, the defensive ends coming, and the tackles even getting up the middle. So I think we've got the guys to do it. Hopefully some of the young guys we got coming in can provide a little bit more depth, but we're really excited about what I think we can accomplish this year.
You feel feel with a mix of veterans and young guys you have there at corner that they can handle the stress that would be put on them, especially if you have to send an extra guy to blitz, that they can hold up on that back end? Is that something that you really want to challenge your guys to?
That's no stress at all. That's what we do. That's what it's about. I recruit guys that's about. You recruit mentality, you recruit mindset. And you want to recruit guys that have the ambition to play on the next level. And if you play on the next level, you better be able to do that. So there's no stress at all. That's our job.
Away from football, what is Derek like? What is he like as a person, and how has he kind of related to a lot of the guys that are already in the room?
He's a natural leader. He has a very unique background. His dad is a 22-year, I think, military veteran. Comes from a very solid family. He's a good teammate. He's a guy that's a student of the game. I mean, from the first day he walked on campus, he was wanting to know, what we're doing and how to prepare and wanting to watch film. And, you see him in Coach Quinn's office. You'll see him with Coach Goove. You'll see him, with Coach Pilo. He's learning not only the corner position, but as we recruit the guys, we tell them we're not recruiting corners and safety. We're recruiting defensive backs. That's why we call them cheetahs. And what we want to do is to be able to put ourselves in position by preparation to put our best football players on the field. And he's the type of guy that you'll see penciled in as a corner, but he's a guy that we feel like we can plug in anywhere and give us the best chance to win. But, he's a guy that I think has been an addition to our locker room. And what you want when you have a winning program is captains in your program. You want guys in the locker room carry themselves the right way. You want guys in the cafeteria. You want guys in the classroom. Derek Canteen has already graduated from college and still has possibly 3 years of eligibility remaining. So, he's a walking example of what we want all of our guys to be. And anytime you got a guy like that in the locker room, it shows not only younger guys but older guys what it takes to be a winner.
How has Jalen Jones adjusted to that side of the ball?
Really well. He's a guy that we looked at last year, and we just thought from a body type and knowing we needed some depth and knowing we were going to go bring in a lot of receivers, we thought he was a guy that could benefit us. He played really well on special teams and a very aggressive guy. And I think he's taking pride in it. He's a guy that comes in, goes about his business, and again, he's learning how to play the position, but at the same time, utilizing the ability that he has to help this football team become the best possible team we can be.